And we are live. It's been a while since I've said that. We've had so many pre-recordings and so many videos. Again, thank you to all the new subscribers and all the new viewers that have come over. Really, really appreciate it. Got Alex back in the building. First of all, Alex, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. Doing whatever I can to figure out this summer window of pure boredom. I've officially started tweeting out tumbleweeds gifts every day that we don't make a signing. So there could be a lot of tumbleweeds coming up our way.
There isn't really a lot going on in terms of Leicester City. Again, if you've not checked out the interview with Rob Tanner, make sure you go check that out on the channel. But today we're going to be going through, we've done this, it feels like a while ago now. We did the defenders and goalkeepers. We spent a long time doing that. Now we're going to go forward and we're going to bring it on to midfielders and forwards. So we'll start with Leicester City midfielders. We'll start with the first one. In terms of keep, sell and loan, Harvey Barnes, I mean, pretty standard this one, isn't it? I think we're keeping him.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to keep Harvey Barnes. He's a solid winger. Depending what happens with Lookman, I think it's going to be a good competition for him. But I still say Barnes is the future for Leicester City. He's still young. He's got a lot to. He can still improve. And you'd be silly to sell him right now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think he's one player that didn't quite hit the heights last season, and he's still got, I think his numbers were decent. I think he just about scraped double figures, both in goals and assists in all competitions, which is still good. But however, on an individual performance, we know he can do a lot better. So with Harvey, I say we keep, but it's one of those things where I think we have to say he needs to get his numbers up, I think. And he will get there if he gets the right time and the right training and the right opportunities. But last season, he didn't quite hit it.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like last season, just in general, for a lot of players, it was just kind of lackluster to say the least. But you're right. Right amount of training, the right type of training, and the right motivation. I think those are all key pieces to this that will allow him to really take off to the next level. I definitely think that's a possibility. I'm skeptical to say the least about this season, but I think that's a lot of us. But he's surprised us in the past, so why not just expect the unexpected here.
Exactly. Well, not even the unexpected. We've seen what he can do as well. So
Exactly.
It's just about getting into that as well. Coming on to the next one as well, we've got Youri Tielemans. Now, I mean, we had a video go viral. We got 1.7k views, I think, in total. But it shows you the power of the international the fans from other clubs as well. Youri Tielemans, I mean, there's a lot of stuff about a new contract and things like that at the moment. I think we are probably going to keep him if we're being honest. But with Youri Tielemans, I mean, he has to improve. I know it's kind of similar thing with the Harvey Barnes, but there's mistakes he made last season, which I'm like, this isn't Youri. I think he was wasn't he one of the joint top of people that gave away penalties as well?
I think so. I think he was up there in the numbers from give up for that. But Youri is a very interesting case. I'm more on the sell side of Tielemans. I think the saga of Youri Tielemans right now with Leicester has kind of run its course. It's kind of like beating a dead horse. It's kind of getting annoying. And realistically, I know the price tag that's currently with Youri Tielemans is not what we want. So that's kind of a negative. But the way I look at it is, the club just handed KDH a new contract that goes until 2027. Mm-hmm. You got Ndidi and you got Maddison. There's your midfield. I don't see Youri starting right now because the way that KDH played last season is he's one of the first names on the team sheet for me. So in order for Youri to really, if he does stay, in order for him to actually break into the first team, he needs to have a stellar, training camp and a stellar preseason. And I don't know if we're going to see that. I really don't. There's been talk about this possible contract extension with a release clause, I believe that's the rumor going around. Would it be good? Sure. But at the end of the day, we don't know how long the contract is going to be. And, we're running into this issue where we're kind of in this position where the midfield is kind of been set, and we have Tielemans who I don't know. On a good day, he's incredible.
Yeah.
But he's had so many bad days of late that it's hard to kind of establish, where he's going to be. And I think that's the biggest issue that I have is that, you could take your chance, sign him to a long-term contract, and if he takes off prior to the World Cup and you cash in the January window, that's a possibility. And that I feel like could be the most realistic possibility. But you could also bite the bullet where you take the chance. There's no contract. He absolutely has a horrid World Cup, and he leaves on a free in at the end of this season. So you're kind of in a catch-22. It's either you're going to sell him now and make a little bit of profit. You're gonna, cross your fingers and toes and hope that he does sign an extension, or if he does sign an extension and it's small, without a release clause, that he has an exceptional World Cup, so you can sell him, in January, or the other side of it is you let him walk next year.
That's the thing. So, and it's so frustrating because I think, and let's put it on this one. I see. So I think no, that's not worked. No, that doesn't work. I thought we could both go a little bit bigger side by side. Anyway, in terms of Youri Tielemans, I kind of agree to a certain extent. However, I think he was expecting a lot of people to come out for him, thinking he's got a year left on his contract. There's people that want him. His agent's been going around, flying around Europe, trying to speak to all the biggest clubs. And even Arsenal, who's been linked with heavily for 25 mil, even they haven't put a bid in. And they bought Vieira for 45, and they're splashing another 45 on Martinez and things like that as well. So they are willing to spend the money, but even they, in terms of where they're going to compete, I've had this conversation with Egal on Lewis's channel when an Arsenal fan where I was saying, and he just couldn't understand that we're competing for the same positions. We won't be competing for the maximum we could get is fourth. Lowest we could get is lowest we could get, but we're 4th to 8th, I think, next season is where we could finish. And I say Arsenal was the same, especially with us not having European football, but he's a big part of that. And it shows you as well that they're not putting in the money for him. Camp was in the comments saying, sell Tile. I think he means Tielemans, but if you're a Patson Daka fan, are you from Zambia? We'd love to have you on the show. Do get in touch with us. Oh, wait, it's not there. This is nostalgic. I have to bring it back. Bang. Yeah, there you go. It's been a while since I saw that one. Get in touch with us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Beyond the 90. We'll sort out. I'd love to get a Zambian fan on. That would be fantastic, and hear all about Patson Daka, because we're hoping we'll get onto him in a bit. Next one, James Maddison. I mean, this one's pretty straightforward, isn't it? And Alex,
you're going to keep him. He's going to have a crazy year. Somehow Southgate's still going to not add him to the England squad for the World Cup, and he's going to put everyone to shame when he has another season, and Southgate's going to get sacked. So that's my projection for Maddison this season. You're going to keep him. He's just becoming one of the best in the Premier League, in my opinion. People are talking about, well, there's Grealish and whatnot, being like, well, Grealish is 100 million pounds and, he rides the bench. Maddison puts in all the work and effort, and, his stat line proves it. And it's, that's his argument. And, at the end of the day, I think he's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was talking with Rob about this, and we were speaking about his positional play, and at times he was dropping back, I think, a lot of the games into that number 8 position, really deep lying, not all the time, but he was dropping back, and he was working a lot harder, especially with KDH in the team. And also, he wasn't playing as much, especially towards the end of the season, in that number 10 role. He was playing just to the right of that, like an inverted number 10, inverted winger. Then you've got Castagna and that bombing on the overlap as well. So he is flexible. He's not as the number 10 as we're making out, as I think other people make out. And I was guilty of doing that as well. But I've seen he can play multiple positions, and he is more versatile than I think. He's not quite a Mason Mount, but he is more versatile than I think people give him credit for. Dabs is in there as well, saying, I think Tielemans will sign a contract extension. This is what we were saying with a release clause 670 million. And that's what we've heard as well. However, if they're not willing to pay 25 mil now, what do you think they're going to pay for 60 to 70? Do you know what I mean? He's still young. He's 25. So he's not super young. He's coming into the peak relatively soon. So I'm looking at it going, right, well, it would be great if we could get that done and we could get him sold for signing a contract, and then he goes on for 70 mil. We could do wonders with that money, considering that Fofana was 30 mil, Castagna was 25 mil, James Justin was 6 to 10 mil as well. So we can do money with that, but for some reason, I think even though I've heard it, it doesn't quite line up, because you'd come in for 25 when you got the option now. Anything to add, or kind of on that as well? No.
No, I agree with you completely with that. Maddison's one of those players that, I think he's going to have a good season. You don't sell him for anything. And I think he's just overlooked. I really do think that. I think, there's that bias of the top six. And, unfortunately, people, because he, unfortunately, in the sense of that he plays for Leicester, which is messed up in its own way, he doesn't get the credit that he's due, even though he's, in my opinion, one of the best.
The thing is, it's just standard England. For somebody that's watched England for years, this has happened to Danny Drinkwater, and he took Jack Wilshere instead. I know both of their careers have come off recently, but still, at the time, there was no reason to take Jack Grealish, even though he's just coming back from an injury. It is what it is with this one. Yeah. Another one we've got, Marc Albrighton. I know he's going to be here for the next couple of years. I think he knows his role. I think we are going to keep him. However, he's more of that squad player, but don't really see where he fits in the squad anymore, to be honest. In terms of a backup, maybe for EFL Cup and things.
No, I agree with you on that. He's going to stay here for I think the long term. I think, to be brutally honest, I think Albrighton might retire, here at Leicester. But you hit the nail on the head there. He's definitely a squad player. We've seen moments of, where he can still deliver. And I think we saw it last season still. But he's not a starter. He might get the occasional sub on in the middle of a Prem game. But like you said, he's there for cups and whatnot. But I also think that he's a leader in the dressing room, and I think those are the players that you need. He's one of the older players, and I think he has that experience. So, does he fit with Rodgers' formation and whatnot? It's hard to say. I think he knows what he's going to do. I think Albrighton knows what he's going to do this season and probably for the remainder of his contract. But he's definitely someone, I think, that is a necessity in this squad, both leadership wise and just morale wise.
Yeah, and exactly, and his experience playing in Champions League, playing some high level, again, scoring the goal against Sevilla, winning the Premier League is a massive thing. He's a good hard worker and a good role model. And I think the way he's going to be, the thing is, I don't see him actually out on that right-hand side as much. I see him playing, if we play 4-3-3, I could say with a couple of injury, he slots in on that right-hand side, has to do all the running and helps out in the midfield, but then who do you drop out? And then the other position that I think he could play is right back if we have another freak injury situation and he's there. So he's good enough for that, and I think that's where he knows that the squad's growing around him as well. I think that's where he's probably going. Dabster's put in the comments again, Albrighton has become more like James Milner, who's happy to be a squad player and do a job when required. Work rate for the team cannot be underestimated. I agree to a certain extent, however, sometimes you do need a little bit more. I think we've had Ant on the show as well, where he talks about this, and having that work rate is great, but sometimes you need that little bit more. And he's not going to come off the bench and win you games, and he's putting a steady shift, but I don't think he's at that level, Alex, that where he was before. And I think that difference is kind of it's noticeable in a match.
I would say the way you said it perfectly. When I look at Albrighton, I see Albrighton as he's a type of sub that comes on that can help shut the game down. So if Leicester are up by 1 or, leading by 2, he comes on and he helps shut down play, and that's it. Mm-hmm. He's not an impact sub. he can't go. He's not going to come on, and he's not going to wow the crowd, and he's not going to be. He's not going to take control of the match and be like, I'm going to put this, this ball in the net. He's not that type of player.
Unless it's against Rene.
Yes, but I think we've both kind of established the way of our thinking is, he's that type of player that can come in on the odd occasion. I think he's a good player in the sense of like shutting down play and shutting down a game. Like he's really good at that. And I think that's where Rodgers is going to utilize him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree in terms of that. Don't really have anything else to add to that. The other one we've got, again, Hamza. I'm going to have a little bit. I'm going to shut up because I know I'm going to have a rant on this one. But it's just. I do still rate Hamza. I still think he's a great player. However, if you give me the options of Soumaré, he's full third place behind Soumaré and Ndidi, and when he's come in, I think he's performed great. But I think he needs that run of games, and I just don't think. I don't know how to describe it because on some of the performances when he came into the team against top 6 oppositions, against Man City, against Arsenal, he's against Tottenham, he's been fantastic, best player on the pitch. When he came in against Brighton, captained the squad against Dewsbury-Hall in that middle, they were great. They worked really, really well. But for me, it's a really sticky one because I think if he gets a run of games, he will thrive. But I can't see him getting ahead of Tielemans, Ndidi and Soumaré, and I don't think he's rated by Rodgers as well.
Honestly, I think Hamza was more the type of player last season where when Rodgers was in a pickle and he needed a player, he kind of threw Hamza in. I honestly kind of saw it like that. He kind of jumped into certain times where it was like, Rodgers was in a bind and he's like, okay, who am I going to throw in? I'll throw in Hamza and hope for the best. And he lucked out sometimes and sometimes he didn't. I definitely think that there is a player in there. But as you said, Neil, with the depth that we have, with Soumaré and Ndidi, and, there has been that discussion about Soumaré not, being here next season. But I just don't see Hamza getting the run of games that he needs. And when saying that, I think the most likely result in that is probably him leaving the club. And I feel like he's still young. That's the thing. Like you're not going to get a massive return on him, but you're going to get something for him. And if we're being honest, the club needs that. I think the club is at the point where, they can free up wages. They can get a little bit of return back in cash. At this rate, I feel like if an opportunity arose that, a club came in and said, hey, we'll offer you X amount of dollars for Hamza, I think the club wouldn't hesitate.
And I think they're getting a steal. I genuinely believe they're getting a steal for that as well. Even if they take a little bit. I mean, Dabs is in the comments. He's saying, time to sell Choudhury, not his fault. It's not a fault of his. But I think part of it is down to the fault of Brendan Rodgers. He has his favourites. He picked Mendy over him a lot of times as well. Development, yeah. Do you know what? It's for me, it's so frustrating. But I understand because if you're bringing somebody like Soumaré in, I like Soumaré. I think he's got a future here. I think he'll be an absolute baller. But he's going to need time and to develop and run in the games as well. And for that, I think, unfortunately, again, I'm the biggest Hamza Choudhury fan. I think it's time to sell him. And I'm so gutted because he's going to go on to a next club and absolutely smash it. This man, we don't even need to see. This is future. Give him, well, even now, I'd genuinely consider giving the number 8 shirt to him as well. But need I say more about this guy?
KDH 2027. In my opinion, he's a future captain of Leicester. Future England international. The sky's the limit for KDH in my eyes. I think him coming into last season, there was a lot of excitement, because he had an incredible time when he was at Luton. And, I think there was a lot of, like I said, optimism about him coming, and playing first team football at Leicester. But I don't think nobody was expecting what we actually witnessed last season, because he not only brought his A game, but he continually developed his game throughout the season. And, like this, the contract is a win-win for both sides because the club is bringing in this young talent that is only getting better. And, KDH gets rewarded with this long-term contract. And, it shows that the club is being serious and how much they like him and they want him to be in the first team. And like you said, Neil, and I said it earlier, KDH is probably one of the first names on the team sheet, in every match, which, puts, like the whole discussion with Youri up again, being like, I start KDH over Youri, like it's the truth. It happens. There's no question about it. It just, that is what I would do. So, you look at it and you go, if he's this young, he's only going to get better, and it's exciting because this is the type of talent you want.
And that's something that we discussed with Rob Tanner as well. When he says he's interviewed the ex-loans manager who was there for like 10 years at Leicester City, and he goes, he was going, this is only the beginning for KDH. He's going to get better than this. And KDH is saying he's going to get better than this. Not to get people carried away, but this is going to be really exciting. His development and his rise is going to be insane. I'm hoping they slapped 100 million on him as well, because literally he's going up there, and he's going to be up there with Fofana next season for player of the season. There is, in my mind, there's no doubt, because it was phenomenal, considering he only played half the season as well. And yeah, I mean, that's insane.
Just another thing about KDH is that the confidence that not only does he bring, he's like this confidence that he has about himself. It's not in a cocky manner. It's a, I know what I can do, and I know what I can learn and develop. And it's like this hunger that is, it's so awesome to witness, because it's just someone who just wants the best that he can be and want to even strive further. And I think that's such a cool way to have, like a mentality to have. And that's exactly what KDH has. But I definitely agree with you. I think what we saw this season, I think it's going to be even scarier next season. I think he's just going to get better and better and better.
I think so. And it's going to be, I'm really looking forward to that one again. Bring on the season, because again, even if we have a bit of a stalemate in terms of transfers, which is a bit boring, we still have a great squad, and he's one of them as well. The next one we've got is Nampalys Mendy. I mean, I think its contract expires next year as well. I think we talked about Rob Tanner in January, where we talked about so many players that are expiring contracts. Nampalys Mendy, I think he was on his way out. He literally was on his way out to Galatasaray, but then I think last season, but that kind of scuppered. But I think his time's kind of up. But if he's still here, he's still going to put in a good performance.
Yeah, you know what? The problem that I have right now is that, he didn't make the squad for the first half of the season last year. And the thought process that I have right now is that, well, if we can't sell anybody, because, like, I hate to say it, like, we're having issues not only bringing in players but selling players. Mm-hmm. I do wonder if we hypothetically do bring in a player and we don't sell a player. It's all hypotheticals. Does he even make the squad again? Like, it is a question to wonder. Which is unfortunate, because when he has played, we have seen him in the past and he has been able to deliver. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Mendy's going to be one of those players that, if he is in the squad, he's gonna provide whatever he can. But I think what's going to happen is at the end of his contract, we're just going to let him go. I just, he's served the club well, but I just don't think moving forward, I think it's probably best in that way.
Can't believe he's been here 6 years.
Yeah.
He signed him in 2016. He's been here 6 years. That's mental. I think he turns 30, or he's going to turn 30 soon, which is just insane. But yeah, he's one of the players that will move on. I think next one we've got, again, Wilfred Ndidi. I mean, I think with one game a week, we were a little bit worried about his defensive work. We know how good of a defensive defender he is. I just want to see him fit and play to his top level for a long period of time. And we just haven't seen that in 2 years, have we, Alex? And nothing against him. He just sets his bar so high. And when he gets injured, it doesn't come back the same. And it takes him a while to get into the momentum.
No, I completely agree with you. I honestly think that not playing in Europe this year is going to be a benefit to Ndidi. And, like you said, playing one match a week. I think, Ndidi's really going to be able to really like hone in on everything that he's been having issues with and really correct it and make it better. He doesn't have to worry about, he's not going to be playing on a Sunday being like, okay, I play on a Thursday and then I'm going to play again on a Monday. You know what I mean? Like he's not thinking any of like that stuff. He's like, I play Sunday this week and then I play Saturday next week.
Yeah.
Like I need to just focus on today, get a handle of everything going on, and then I can move forward into the next match next week. And, I think one of the biggest things for him has been the injuries.
Yeah.
He caught that injury bug and it just hasn't gone away. So hopefully the extended, recovery time is going to allow him to really, develop his game again. And, one of the unfortunates for him is, Nigeria not making the World Cup, but it in some way is a benefit to us because when the World Cup is on, he can continue training. And I think, he'll have that time to rest and to train all at the same time. And I think, come January, come Boxing Day when all the matches come back, I think he's going to be in a different caliber, on another level in terms of other players that are coming back from the World Cup and they're going to be tired. And, Ndidi's going to be like, let's go. I think the same with Nacho. I think the two of them are going to be like, let's play. Not
just him. I think Dewsbury-Hall, I think as much as I rate him, he's not going to go to the World Cup. Jamie Vardy, we know is not. Johnny Evans, we know is not. Kasper Schmeichel will do, I think. And then obviously, I think Wales, Wales are going through with as well. So there's quite a few players. Again, the next player we're going to look at, Soumaré, he's probably going to go. He's probably not going to go as well. So there's quite a few players in there. And also, when you come back, it's hit the floor running. The December schedule is brutal, and we've just got to keep going through that as well. So anyway, that's another one. Bring it on to Soumaré as well. So I think that's our I think that's our last midfielder. I think that's all the midfielders. No, there wasn't as many as I thought. Oh, I think we've got a couple that are mentioned here anyway. Soumaré, I mean, looks good. Smiles on the faces. My internet's lagging out a little bit, but what are your thoughts on Soumaré and potentially coming into next season?
I am hoping for a breakout season for him. The way I kind of look at last season was a write-off. I think there's some stuff off the pitch as well going on with him, and I just wasn't able to really settle down and settle in. I know there were speculations about him possibly leaving the club during the summer. I don't know how accurate those are. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But if he does end up staying, I hope, he can really just settle in and just have a good season. We're not asking for, him to come in and be on the same levels of like Ndidi. Like we're not, we're just, if he can come in and be a good, bench player coming in, an impact sub. That's what we'd want him to be right now. He's still young and he's developing. So, if he can come in for Ndidi, at like the 70th minute, 65th minute, and just, deliver one hell of a 25-minute, performance, like that's what you need from him.
But he's also, sorry to interrupt, he's been in a few big games. Manchester United at home. Liverpool at home, he was a fixture in that as well. They're the two ones that stand out to me where his performances were not, they were decent considering his first season. He's still adapting to English football, etc., etc. This guy's going to be a beast, and when he gets that final pass right, because we've seen it in pre-season, his range of passing is insane. I think there's a real gem here. And you're right, in terms of when Wilfred Ndidi is not available or we need somebody to come in and, like when we played against Liverpool, we played a 4-3-1-2 and he was part of that 3. he bossed that midfield. Not massively, but I think his work goes really underrated. But I think as well, he's another player that it's just the start for him. I think he's only going to get better.
Oh no, I completely agree. I think, as long as we keep him, and as long as everything goes well on the field, I feel like the KDH Soumaré midfield is something for the future. Like, I really do believe that. And I said that last season, and I still believe it. I think those two players, if given the opportunity, can play a really solid 1-2, combo. But only time will tell right now.
Exactly. We will have to see what happens. But I think, again, the more I look through this, the more I think, okay, transfers haven't worked out, but our squad is still good. Our squad is still good. Again, we'll get on to the forwards at the moment. Jamie Vardy, I mean, this speaks for itself. I think this is only worth touching on briefly because we know this is what's going to happen. And Rob Stewart was saying he might enter a 1-year extra contract extension as well.
I'm just waiting for when they say they're building a statue for him. He's staying. He's already, he's dismissed, multiple, rumors throughout the years, while being here at Leicester of going to different clubs. He's been, he's one of the legends of Leicester. And he's going to end that. And when it comes to what he did last season through all those injuries, it's crazy. Like, he really hasn't slowed down. Injuries have been a factor, but his goal rate has not stopped. So if he could have a fully fit season, like, I'm gonna say over 20 goals. Like, I really believe that. I think even at his age, like, last season he had, like, in all competitions, but like last season I think he had like 16 or something like that, 16, 17. I'm not too sure, but like a fully fit, like a full season, and he's still fully fit, 20 goals. I truly believe it.
Jesus. That is scary as a 35-year-old.
That is my hot take for this season, is that Jamie Vardy is going to score over 20 goals.
But the thing is, even though it's a hot take, I'm kind of with you. I don't think I was convinced as you, but I can see where you're going with this.
You know what I mean?
I don't have an option. I can't say no, definitely not. Yeah. I'm like, I can see where you're coming from.
But like, it's not far off. It's not like you're going to sit here and be like, yeah, Jesus is going to score 25 goals for Arsenal, because that's what all Arsenal fans are going to be saying now. But but when it comes to like Vardy, you can truly sit there and be like, no, it's a realistic possibility that he could totally score 20 goals this season.
I'm trying to figure out scored season 2022. I'm trying to figure out how many goals he scored. I think it was 15 goals.
Yeah.
And that was just in the Premier League. And with what? His record was the same as Salah. No, you're right. I think you're right. Yeah, the more I've thought about it, the more it makes sense. I mean, one man... Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just going to say, like, it just kind of, like, his stat line from last year speaks for itself. Like, it does.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. The next one we've got is Kelechi Iheanacho. Another one to keep. Again, I don't really see his role, but I know he can come in and I know he can deliver.
I've been, like, my mind has been playing like multiple different scenarios when it comes to Nacho. And the only reason why is because I love the guy and I want him to succeed. And he, in my eyes, could be a starting striker for numerous clubs in the Premier League that are lower in the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think he needs the opportunity. When he was given the opportunity when Vardy was down, he blew away like all competition. He was incredible. And then last season we barely see him, and he's such a confidence player. And I could not imagine how much the confidence that he lost just sitting on the bench. Because imagine going from one season being like, I just came in, wasn't expected to do what I ended up doing, and blew everybody away. And then I was rewarded by sitting on the bench. Like that's a pretty big blow. And I think for him, like for his career, I'd like to see him go to a club where he would be given the opportunity. Not saying that I want him to leave, because I think he's an awesome player, and I think his personality and what he brings to the squad is so important. But at the same time, like on a completely different level, I want him to succeed.
Yeah. I think, do you know how old he is? Have a guess.
25.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, damn it. So yeah, 25 years old. So he's coming into the highlight of his career, and he's going to be not just second choice now. We'll get on to the who's going to be the main striker, and he's not going to be that. But he's a great squad player. But again, I'm with you for his career. But where does he go? I can't see it. Does you see what I mean? He has to
Yeah,
kind of play the Gabriel Jesus role almost, but he's not as
but
it's
he's better.
confusing, man. It's really weird. Sorry?
I said, but he's better.
Yeah.
I just want to get
Legit.
all I just want to get all Arsenal supporters just riled up because it's fun.
Oh, that's not hard. That's not
I
hard. They
know.
rile each other up, I think, as well. Do you know what? Then Arsenal, if you do need a number 10, this man is going 45 mil. We'll drive him down to London for him. Ayoze Pérez, I mean, doesn't really have a future at the club. I don't think he's kicked onto the level, but I can't see where else he goes, to be honest. I think he's just on too high wages.
Yeah, I would offer to drive him to the airport, but he'd probably pay for the taxi to drive back to the training grounds. So yeah, his wages are too high.
Mm-hmm.
Why? This is the problem that Leicester have been in. Is the reason why we can't sell players. When you look at the likes of Bertrand, Vestergaard, um, Perez. Those are just three that are coming off the top of my head. Their wages are too high. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why leave a club that you're making X amount of dollars to only go to a club and make half?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he got
Like Perez is like banking it. Perez is like, I might play. Like I might. And I might, I might be on the bench. I might not be on the bench. He doesn't know. But he's like, I'm still getting paid X amount of dollars a week.
mm.
You know what I
and
mean?
he came in and did some great stuff for small periods of time, but not enough for me to try and keep him for the long time. And I'm with you. I think he's a great player, just not quite cutting it at the moment. And the last one, Patson Daka. I mean, oh man, I listened to something recently where he was interviewed. He was interviewed, and he goes, "Oh, how did you find your first season?" I thought he would have said, "Yeah, it was good season. There's still a lot of development to go." He wasn't happy. He was like, "No, I was okay because I should have done better. I should have done a lot better." And I was thinking, "Oh my god, this guy is the real deal." So again, give him a preseason, give him another summer, one game a week. I think this guy can thrive as well.
I completely agree. I think it's been a year. We've had Patson Daka for a year. The expectations from the fan base was extremely high. Um,
Mm,
I think too high. And when I mean that, I mean I think they expected him to come out and be like Jamie Vardy, like when he was scoring goals upon goals. Like, prior to him having a rough start when he first came to Leicester. Um, but I think Daka's been adjusting his game. He left the Austrian league to come to England, and the type of football that is played in those two leagues is vastly different. So I think he's still adjusting, but we've seen what he can do. We've seen what he can do in Europe, and let's be serious, he blew my expectations out of the water. 4 goals in one game.
yeah.
Um, but I agree with you. I think we just need to give him time, and I definitely think we're going to be laughing at the end of this season. I think we're going to be talking about like damn, Daka is incredible, and we just had to be patient. And I think, with Vardy getting older, I don't think we're going to see Vardy as much as we have seen him.
No.
And I think in doing so, I think Daka is going to get more opportunity to play. And
Yeah.
with that, I think the goals will come. And I think the confidence will continue to grow. And with that, I think the player that we've all pictured in our own minds is going to start, coming true. It's going to be different in some way, shape, or form, but I definitely think Daka is a player for the future. You look at him, you have him, you're going to have Maddison, you're going to have Barnes, you're going to have KDH. If Soumaré pans out, you got Fofana who signed his new contract. Like, there is a ton of positives, and I think
Mm.
having Daka at the front of all that is exciting.
just looking at his stats now, and I totally agree. In terms of goals per 90, James Maddison 0.45, Jamie Vardy 0.68, Patson Daka 0.5. It's a frightening amount. Played 38 games, 11 goals, 4 assists. In all competition, goal conversion rate was the same as James Maddison, according to the BBC as well. Shot accuracy was better than James Maddison's as well. So that's with very little minutes, which I think is insane. Which is, again, I look at the squad and I go through it and we go, the main place we need to really focus on is that defense. Secure that defense, work on set pieces. Next season could be decent.
Yeah. And I also think, his comments being like, no, I didn't have a good season is a good thing, because he has that drive and that motivation to be better. Like he didn't just sit around and be like, yeah, I did pretty good. But he's like, no, I did okay, but I did okay. Like he's probably thinking, I did okay. Am I happy with what I did? No. Do I want to do better? Absolutely. He's looking, being like, I know what I can do, and I know how much better I can get, and I want to be there. And I think having, like I said, it's kind of like the KDH mentality. It's I know what I can bring, but I also know how much more I can grow and develop and bring in the future. And I think it's the same mentality. It's such an incredible mentality to have. And I think, like I said, I think we both said it, it's only going to benefit him and Leicester City in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, again, Dabs has put a comment about rate Daka a lot, didn't have a bad season, believe within the next year or two he'll score plenty of goals. Totally agree. Needs to be patient, given time support, and that's what we're good at this club. That's the reason why he chose us over Liverpool or over another big club, because of A, Jamie Vardy. I think he's the one-to-one mentorship that's going to happen, and B, he can see he's still young. He's still got a lot of development and time to do as well. So I think that's it. I think a couple of players I've just forgot about who are not on this list. Dennis Pratt, I think he's going to go to Fiorentina. Doesn't quite work out. Great player, by the way. I think he's a great player, but he's a very similar to KDH, but KDH is always going to get ahead of him, and there's no reason to bring him back into the squad because we've got so many great midfielders there. And the other one, do you know what I'm going to say, Alex?
No, I actually don't.
Lookman. I know, right? I just forgot that until now. I was like, yeah, Ademola Lookman. Yeah, he's coming back into the squad. Hopefully.
I hope. Like, you know what? I forgot about Lookman.
Yeah.
I hope they sign him, because, I don't know about you. I don't fully believe all the transfer rumors going around, because, like, it's silly season and things get tossed out and it doesn't make sense. But I've seen the names being linked for us for wingers, and I'm like, for the love of God, please no. And I just feel like Lookman, with the option to buy, I think it's 14 million. It's not relatively too bad. Like, we'd be stupid. We'd be absolutely stupid to let that go. He's young. He is, he's a developing player. He's going to get more international play time because now he's with Nigeria.
Not for the World Cup, though. They
not for
haven't
the World,
qualified, but I'm with you.
Yeah. But not for the World Cup. But he's going to be able to play with. Let's be serious. He's going to play with Ndidi and Nacho more, so that's good. So I just if we let this go, if we let Lookman go, I feel like it's going to be such a mistake. I think it's just going to be such a ill-advised decision that we're going to be kicking ourselves later this season.
And they just need a few play, and it's really annoying that we can't get Lookman in, but we've got Bertrand, but we've got Vestergaard, but we've got even Ayoze Pérez, even, again, I hate to say it, but even Hamza Choudhury. Not that I don't rate Choudhury, just because where in the squad and where we need to develop, that's probably a position where we're strong at. We need somebody on that left-hand side that can really do the business. And Harvey Barnes, great player, but he's not going to perform game in, game out. So I think that's it in terms of that. Finally, got through it. We managed to extend it to a whole month. But after that, Alex, I mean, we've got a lot of players, and I'm hoping that some of them could be shifted on. And oh my God, have you just seen who's back?
He's alive.
You are alive. Rich, if you're here, if you want to join in next time, mate, give us a shout, and we'll love to have you on. It's been years. Well, I went to see him, but yeah, give us a shout, mate. We'll love to have you on. But yeah, great. That was a really way to end the stream as well. Alex, any final thoughts before we finish?
Not much. I'm just really hoping we have some transfer news, and like some signings soon. It's just, it's been, I don't know about you, but it seems like it's been a very difficult window to just try to stay positive. It seems like clubs around us are getting better. And with Rodgers promising us this
rebuild.
Not rebuild. No, it's not a. What was it? A rebuild. It was a rehash, restructure.
No, you said rebuild, didn't it?
Did you say rebuild? It just like don't get me wrong. Like, I'm super excited. We signed KDH to an extension, but I think we still have a good squad. But I know we need to get better, especially with clubs around us getting better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think we will get there as well. But we just need to get rid of some of the players that just don't have a future at the club, and we know who they are, but they're on high wages. It's a really frustrating time because there's players that are just queuing up to get in, and like, right, KDH would be one of them, but just that little bit. But then just need a few more to leave, and then we can get in, and it's just they're the front of the queue. But if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to follow Alex there with the link in the description to his Twitter as well. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.